So the main agenda here today is after the development of the Act, the Constitution requires that we undertake public participation to get views of the people on the Act, and that is why we are here today. The policy has been developed through a very consultative process, and a technical working group that worked on the policy identified various key challenges that affected the Act and the gaps under the previous policy that we are trying to come up with interventions and goals that we are going to support the MSME sector. And the policy has identified various challenges, including access to finance, access to markets, access to decent and affordable infrastructure facilities are some of the major challenges that are affecting the MSE sector, and also the gap in terms of the missing middle, where the previous MSE policy did not cater for the medium enterprises, and that is what now we are trying to introduce under the new policy that we are gathering. The policy has also identified 8 key policy objectives and goals that we will be implementing to be able to support the MSME sector so that they can be able to be productive, competitive, and sustainable. Our aim is to have an MSME sector that is growing and not stagnating. And one of the gaps we realized as we did our literature review has been that most of our MSMEs do not survive to their 5th birthday, and many of them stagnate. They remain micro and they not transit to the to the either small enterprises, medium, or even large enterprises. So this policy framework is here to provide interventions that we as government can be able to other stakeholders in the MSME ecosystem, development partners can be able to utilize to be able to support the MSMEs towards transitioning from micro to small and small to medium enterprises. What the policy is looking at is how do we ensure that our MSMEs are adaptable and sustainable in terms of surviving during disaster, during pandemics. And the policy has come up with various strategies to support the MSME sector, including developing affordable, accessified, and diversified financial services, supporting in terms of upgrading their skills and capacity so that MSMEs are able to learn, understand, and be able to operate their business in a professional manner. We're also looking at how do we ensure that our MSMEs operate in decent facilities. We've been having MSMEs working in environments that have not been conducive. We're looking at how do we promote our MSME productivity, efficiency, and innovativeness and competitiveness. So the policy has come up with various strategies to address all this, to ensure that our MSMEs are able to be sustainable. And each policy objective is trying to address particular gaps or particular challenges that the MSMEs are actually facing. And we'll be providing all these support services in a collaborative partnership model where we'll be working with both national, county, development partners, private sector organizations to be able to support our MSME sector. So it's more of a collaborative effort where we'll bring all partners into one sitting and be able to ensure that the support is driven and it's targeted towards supporting our MSMEs in a manner that is sustainable and they're able to adapt and grow. Find out and what is the current context of the sector. So we're looking at the role of counties in MSME development as per the 4th schedule of the Constitution. And
is to create that living here as a leader with my family here. The rest have taken a flight. What have I done for my society?
About the better MTP4 Vision 2030, having all the previous policy. So this one is trying to bring in how collaboration is going to be between both levels of government to support MSMEs in terms of avoiding these challenges.
This speech that 93% of our livelihood is supported by the MSMEs. How are we going to grow it? With some magnified lenses.
The current government has identified at least 10 priority value chains, including leather, edible oils, coffee, tea, and they are trying to support people. But after a lot of feedback and reviews of regulation, I have to get a lot of compliance licenses, multiple duplication or taxation between the better plan and the better agenda, which the bottom-up economic transformation
share development budget that amounts to almost 150 million shillings. And we say
there are some organizations that want to know how many employees that you have employed, especially when it comes to employment creation. We want to know wewe kama shirika lako mumeemploy ama kampuni yako mumeemploy wangapi. But majorly for MSEA, we are looking at the turnover. That is our major focus. But that does not mean kwingine hautaulizwa umeemploy watu wangapi.
A lot has happened in this country as far as the MSMEs is concerned. And we all know very well that the largest population in this country, close to 93%, depends entirely on the micro, small and medium enterprise for job creation, for income generation, as well as wealth creation. So it was vital to revise that policy to be in tandem with the many other policies, including BETA, like the bottom-up transformation agenda that is fronted by the Kenya Kwanza government. The participants are drawn from all sectors, that is from the business community, as well as government institutions and other institutions dealing with the issues or matters relating to investment. So as is to encourage those who are not able to attend this function to look into that draft online and give their input, as well as share with the many who cannot have access to the internet. This country must grow, and the growth can only be achieved if we all play an active role. The times when there was abundance of income and free income is long gone. We must become so much engaged into creating wealth and income. We have to create jobs, particularly here in Garissa. We have to look at the very relevant sectors, that is agriculture, the retail industry and livestock, where there are opportunities to be exploited. And I'm calling for that conversation where all the leaders and members of the public will have to participate in an understanding of what needs to be done in order for us to be able to prosper as a county.
Both at the national level and the county level. One thing that we are suffering is registration everywhere. When you have a small business kiosk, you register with the SMEs and authority because they said you have been authorized to do that. We have a registration from business permit the government is giving you. We have a chamber of commerce like us. We said you have to be a member, you have to pay a certain amount. Sasa unapata hiyo kwa duka imewekwa medals nyingi sana kwa ukuta ya makartasi, na ni serikali moja tu. Hizi pesa yote zinaenda kwa sana. And at least Nairobi started something called a unified way of collecting resources. So if I have a small business and I'm not registered with SMEs and MSEA, but hii pesa ambayo inatoka from serikali kuu, which I'm paying tax by through KRA, that am I eligible to access those services from the authority? Must I be a member?
Kwa majina ni Ben Marango, Secretary General Kenya National Federation of Juakali Northeastern, na pia ni chairman Chapakazi Juakali Association Garissa. Leo tumekuwa na kikao cha public participation kuhusu mambo ya micro and small enterprise. Sheria yenye imetungwa sasa, tunaona kuna mahali itafaidi wanajuakali, na pia kuna sehemu nyingine tunaona inagandamiza wanajuakali. Tungelipenda hii sheria wakati inataka kutungwa, jambo la kwanza wanajuakali wawe wanahusika ndani katika board ya MSEA. Kwa kuwa kuna sheria ambayo inasema wanajuakali wawe ndani ya hiyo board, but this time around tunaomba tuwe na wakilishi wetu sana sana kutoka Kenya National Federation of Juakali wawe representative katika board ya MSEA. Hilo ndio jambo la muhimu sana. Na jambo lingine tunataka jaribu watusaidie. Tumekuwa na shida ya kuwa na registration aina mingi. Mara trade wana register, mara sijui chamber of commerce wana register, mara MSEA pia wako na registration yao. Tungeliomba tuwe na registration moja katika kikao yote ambayo inafanyika katika Kenya. Tumeumia sana kwa sababu unaweza kuja kwa duka unakuta tuko na makaratasi aina mingi. Imekuwa kama ni show ya kuonesha kwamba hii serikali tumeregister nao, county government, trade government, public health government, chamber of commerce. Hizi zote tunaomba ziondolewe na ifanye jambo moja. Tuwe na registration moja inasimamia kila kitu.